Yeah, people, welcome back. Welcome back. The first show live after Jamaican Premier League is here today. Normally, this Jamaican Premier League show, will air, on Tuesday at 12 at noon. But I have lots of time on my hand. So yes, I naturally can go live to them and people. Big up on yourself. Everyone that's tuning in, watching the Real Never Jamaican Premier League. 2 games played today. What couple games, more than 2 played yesterday. Think about 4 3 o'clock game played yesterday. But thanks for having you guys back again. And this is a big bad JPL review show, man. Nicola Media House. Really appreciate everyone, always come on board to support Nicola Media House. A few results, over the course of the weekend of the Jamaican Premier League. The new boys Treasure Beach, won their first Premier League game of the season. That I think that's the first in over 40 years now for the St. Elizabeth team. The West Kingston derby, man. Jerome Waite versus Xavier Gilbert. Tivoli thump up Arnett Garden 3-1. In the complex of the concrete jungle. A hat-trick by Justin Dunn, first hat-trick of the Premier League season so far. And it's a West Kingston, man from playing for Tivoli Garden, scored that hat-trick. Well done, youngster. The defending champion, man, Mount Pleasant, look to be on course, 3 from 3 as they rally back. They beat Mullines United 3-1 yesterday. Dumble Olin, finalists of a couple years ago, they sit rock bottom of the table of the Jamaican Premier League. What's going on, in Portmore? They lost that derby, against Portmore United, Dumble Olin, sitting rock bottom of the table with 1 point. But one thing I have to say though, this is what I really love about, the Jamaican Premier League. It's like whenever players have half day, if the like you say, the West Kingston derby play yesterday, you see some players that played in that game at the game since night at Sabina Park, in the game that Cavalier and Waterhouse played, Lion and above, you see a couple of players, in the squad. This is what I like. I really love, about the Jamaican Premier League, players that's present currently playing in the league, come and watch the Jamaican Premier League. You don't really find that, over the world. You see the biggest set of leagues, you see the biggest set of players, always come and interview and said, whenever they are not playing, the league. No, whenever they're not playing football matches, they're somewhere, reading books, enjoying time with family. They don't give a crap, about the space that they work in. They only give a damn about, whenever they're playing for their club or their country. But Jamaican Premier League players always, showing up for games. It's just a thing, or our culture is just the love of sports. You just want to go there. We just see a football game as like another entertainment, space where we could just go and chill out and just enjoy, day off, as a player, but as I said, Limos, got beaten yesterday, by the new boys. Treasure Beach got their first win of the Premier League so far, after grateful, they've played their first home game, down there at Stets. Glad to see. Even Portmore United, glad to see Ferdinand Park is up and running again. This is what their second game back-to-back, over there at Ferdinand Park. They played Treasure Beach, I think, last weekend, and, they beat them 3-1. But, yeah, new signing for Portmore United, man. Martin Davis, the man that usually played in the Martinez Premier League, saw, a couple of issues with him, with his agents and, some liar thing and stuff like that. But, yeah, he's finally out and running again, so, yeah, scored on his debut, for the team over there in Greater Portmore. Shout out to Martin Davis, man. Back on the playing field. He's a wonderful talent. Remember when Martin Davis just coming through, the fall, playing that who remember that Valencia thing that used to be in Jamaica, where he went. I think he spent a couple of years in Valencia, and he played a couple of years, in Toronto FC. The second team. He probably speak around 60 to 70. Fluent Spanish. Say yeah, it's a good thing. But Martin Davis is a really talented player. From his days at St. George's College. I don't remember if I ever played against him. I'm a bit older, but I don't remember if I ever played against Martin Davis. But yeah, good baller. Good baller. Glad to see him. He's evil. Doing a little thing on the side. Farming and stuff like that. But yeah, before he made his debut for Portmore, in that Portmore derby against Dublin Holding. He saw him on his Instagram every day, morning, noon, and night, training, he's keeping much fit, his body look really good as a footballer, he's not getting those body fats, he's keeping those muscle on as usual. That's a player you could see that, he's dedicated to his job, he's dedicated to his work, but yeah, you know, but I'm going to run through the Sunday games, the games that didn't came over on TV. As I said, first of a meeting between Treasure Beach and Limal. Limal is from out there in St. Anne's. First of a meeting between the two teams in the Premier League. Treasure Beach won that game 1-0. Courtesy of Ted Lar Parchment in the 53rd minute. Both teams even got red carded in the game. Both teams went down with a man down, but I saw a little piece of Limal. I saw I think they're the one that kicks off the Premier League when they played. I think they played Waterhouse at Jacksal. I think they played that game at Jacksal though. That's when I first saw Lima. They look a team that trying to find a DNA, trying to find the rhythm in the Premier League. Their squad is not the deepest. Their squad is not, have like quality players like what their neighboring team have. Mount Pleasant. But one player that really caught my eye. His name is Beckford. That's the president. That's the president for St. Anne, the parish president, Danny Beckford. That's his son. I don't remember his first name, but yeah, that's Beckford, the dreadlocked player. And Lima team. He's the one that really caught my eye. He's a really good player, especially when Lima, go up to a set piece. He's the one that looking more dangerous to get his head on the ball. When they played Waterhouse, I remember that game, Kemar Foster made a couple of point blank save from Beckford, but Treasure Beach on the other side, I haven't seen this team, to be honest, live. They haven't, I don't think they got a feature match, yet, but I think their game will come, their feature game will come. But I think I've seen, most of the teams are already over 10 teams, 14 teams in the league. I think, seen over 10 teams already. So, after at the end of the video, I'm going to give my prediction, since I've seen more than 60-70% of all the teams in the league. A little prediction of my top six, who is going to finish in the top six of the playoff, who's going to finish in the top two, the top two of the Premier League at the end of the season, qualify for an automatic semi-final berth. And I'm going to give a harsh decision on who I expect to get relegated from the Jamaican Premier League coming next year. And I might give some players, shout out to some players who I think might be on that goal scoring sheet coming at the end of the season. But yeah, first game down, Treasure Beach, beat Lima 1-0 down there at States. I'm moving on, another team, recently changed their name, from Jamaica to Veer. Veer United and Montego Bay, they drew that game 1-1. Meetings between these two teams, last season, both of them played, and, the first game ended up 3-3, and the second game, it was a 0-0. But Montego Bay coming off on a high, after beating, the finalists, that went to the final last season, Cavalier, a goal scored by one of the Brazilian player. I think it's Correa, rising high from a corner kick from Ferreira. Yeah, and when he scored that goal, the whole of Westport Park lift up, If anyone didn't see, that goal, I think it's on Montego Bay Instagram and their reels. They got an amazing support, last week down there at Westport Park. But, they went to Clarendon, yesterday, and they only got a draw. I think Veer took the lead, in the first half by Sojay Graham in the 9th minute. Ex-Umberlion player, and Brian Rambo Brown, the man that used to be that striker for Russies. I think Rambo Brown, I remember when I was probably when I was like 14, just about in 7th grade, just started high school, I think, Brian Brown, when he was playing for Russies, when he was scoring loads of goals, in the Dakar Cup. This player is real quality. I think he spent some time, in the USL. I think he played in Albania. I'm not sure if his deal is an initial loan or it's just coming back to the Premier League. Just to kick things off back again. I spoke about it yesterday in that Reggae Boy show when I said, sometimes you have to leave from the high to drop to the low to get back your shape and your rhythm back on track. But Brian, Brian Rambo Brown, scored that goal and, gave the team from West a point, but what I have to say, the last 4 games, of these two teams ended in a draw. These teams have been battling it out for the last 8-9 games, and, it's 4 draw between them. Veer United only could win one of those games. The last time Veer beat Montego Bay, it was back in 2022. I think that was in March, I think last season. Not last season. I think last season. It was season before, in 2022 in March, and Alton Lewis was the lone scorer in that game, for the Clarendon team. I think at that time their name was, I think, named Jamalco. Not sure, I think, but it was just recently though they changed over from to Veer from Jamalco. What more? Montego Bay have one that is a pretty decent team. I see this team I think twice already now since the league started. And as I said, they have a few Brazilian. I think they have 4 Brazilian on the team. But the number 10 is the one that stand out. Ferreira. I think the number 10 and the goalkeeper share the last name. I think the goalkeeper name is William Ferreira, and I don't remember. I think Lucas Ferreira, number 10 name. But yeah, he is the plug, for Montego Bay, Ferreira. He is the plug. He is everything for this team, He is the engine room, he is the steam room. He is just everything, man. That's how Montego Bay played, He's that man that tried to get on the ball, dropping deep, try to find a pocket in between midfielder and the defensive line and try to let things, work for this Montego Bay team. But I feel like for this Montego Bay team to even push on and even can get, a top 6 spot, Nadir dos Santos, the Brazilian coach, he spoke about it on match day 1 about, he's not in the league to fill up the numbers. He's here to challenge. He want to challenge the big boys. He want to stamp his class, in the league. So let's see what Montego Bay can do. But I just feel like, with Brian Brown, he came off the bench and he scored, for Montego Bay. I think, getting back to full fitness and match sharp, playing alongside Ferreira. I think he will score goal. This player is a goal scorer, Brian Brown. So let's see what's going to happen, with Montego Bay. I think, Montego Bay is sitting, I think, down there in the bottom half of the table. Let's take a quick look on Jamaican Premier League table. So Montego Bay is sitting 18, midway, they lost 1 game and drew 2 games, and they win that game. That first game that they won was last weekend against Cavalier, but they had a little rhythm, they kind of finding their mojo back, remember Montego Bay was a powerhouse in the Jamaican Premier League, even when they used to name Seba, you know, big shout out to, you know, Tapper Whitmore, you know, as a youngster, I used to watch Seba, you know, back in the days in the early 2000s, you know, with Tapper Whitmore. It was a wonderful team, you know. I think that time they used to play at Jarrett Park, you know, in Montego Bay, you know, but formerly known name, you know, the Green, Montego Bay. And Montego Bay, I think, went to a couple of finals. Remember that Montego Bay team, you know, last time when Montego Bay team was really rocking with, remember that, I think that number 10 he was wearing, Dino Williams, you know, Owen Garden, you know, Alan Atty. I think Alan Atty is still at Montego Bay. That team was so superb, to be honest. You know, they were on their peak, you know, they were on their peak of the power at that time. I think Portmore United beat them in a final, you know, down there in Montego Bay at Katrina Complex. I think that was 2017, 2018 when Portmore just got promoted back to the Premier League and won, you know, back-to-back Premier League, you know, that that never sit well with me, you know. I don't like Portmore United, man. You know, but you have to give them their credit, you know, after got relegated, you know, in the Premier League and then came back on a high, you know, won the league back to back, you know, shout out to Portmore. I think they won 7 Premier League now. You know, but yeah. You know, we're going to move on, you know, from Via United, you know, to but hold on, but next game, you know, next game for, you know, for the next set of games for Veer, you know, I think they will play Cavalier, you know, they will play Cavalier. Montego Bay will play Arnett Garden coming Sunday at Westport Park. You know, that game going to be a ripper, you know, Arnett Garden, you know, yet to win a game at home in front of the concrete jungle. You know, Arnett Garden fans is so miserable right now, you know, after losing against their bitter rival, especially when they're coaching by, you know, I say a Judas, you know, Jerome, but I'm going to take that back. You know, he's a man that won, you know, 3 Premier League titles for the club. So yeah, I'm not going to, you know, embarrass him like that, you know, give Jerome his credit, one of the best Jamaican coach in Ireland right now. Won it at schoolboy level, you know, with Charlie Smith in the 90s. I think 95. You know, one of the best schoolboy team they said ever put together, the Gang of Five. You know, he did it at business or football. He do it in, you know, in woman football. You know, this man do it everywhere. You know, this man is a track team coach. You know, that's why you see Arnett Garden whenever they play Jerome is a running team. You know, you could see he trying to translate that into Tivoli Garden team right now. You know, but I'm going to move on, you know, to the Portmore derby, you know, between Dublin Holding and Portmore United. You know, last year, you know, these two teams, you know, Dublin Holding didn't get the better of their bitter rivals. You know, Portmore beat them 3-1 last season. You know, Portmore, the other game that they played, they initially drew 0-0. But let me tell you this, people, you know, Dublin Holding, even though they didn't get the best of them last season, Dublin Holding, you know, got the better of their bitter rival and the league table as they finished, I think, 41 points in that last playoff spot, you know, over Portmore. Portmore finished in 7th position, 1 point, just 1 point. You see that nil-nil draw, you know, that Dublin Holding got in the reverse fixture, you know, I think it played in, I think it was in February. That was that point, you know, got them in, you know, in the playoff, you know, and they got their better of their rivals in the league table, you know, just by finishing 1 point, you know, above them in the playoff section, you know. But yeah, but Dublin Holding is sitting rock bottom of the table with 1 point, you know. But look, when you lose a player, you know, like, you know, Gawain Astin, you know, the right back, solid player, you know, gone to Mount Pleasant, you know, Nikai Christian, you saw him play today for Waterhouse, one of the best creative midfielder in the Royal Navy Jamaican Premier League for some time now. You know, DeAndre, is it DeAndre Thomas, their striker? He's going to struggle to get goals, as you know, they don't really have that creative sparks in the midfield. You know, they have their midfield general, you know, Fabian McCarthy, you know, but he's still yet to get that rhythm back after, you know, broke his leg. last season. But sorry, but yeah, Martin Davis, got his first goal, and Omar Reed, my namesake, Reed scored, in the 84th minute to put the ice on the cake. Cause Martin Davis, that goal was like a nice little, training ground set piece. I think that ball, it was a free kick slightly on the right side. I think around 25 yards out, and they passed that ball over the left side, to Martin Davis. I know he slapped that in the back of the net, and in the second half, Omar Reed got that goal. I think it was, you could tap in, ball played from the right side, across the goal in the 6-yard box. And, that's what you could tap in, and that gave the Greater Portmore team a 2-0 win over their bitter rival, Dumble Holding. But Portmore United, I have Portmore United to challenge this season. I have them to challenge this season, especially, they lose their star midfielder, Lamar Nelson, Lamar Walker, I don't know why I said what Lamar Nelson, that's Wonka name. Where is Wonka? Lamar Nelson, ex-Charlie and ex-Arnett Garden player. One is, people, look, let me just take a little shift, I'm talking about Lamar, as I said, Lamar Wonka Nelson. Watching this play in the Premier, in Manning Cup, for Charlie, he looked like he was above his peers, in the Manning Cup, Lamar and Wonka Nelson. And, I think Arnett Garden, when Monday Night Football initially just come out red strike Monday Night Football, it was Arnett versus Boystown over there in the concrete jungle. I think Arnett won that game 4-3. It was up to the day. That's the best Monday Night Football ever played, is between Arnett Garden and Boystown. And the complex, they car, like, I never seen Arnett Garden, that full before, and everyone came up from down there from College Drive, from First Street, Second Street, Third Street, come straight up, for Boystown. And Lamar Nelson scored a wicked free kick. I think he was kicking to the end, going to Alpha Tree side. He's not kicking to the end of Arnett Garden, kicking to the wharf. He's kicking towards Uptown, Alpha Tree side. And I think that was slightly in the center. When Wonka scored that free kick, it was slightly in the center, but it was a little bit wide right. And Kirk Porter, the Boystown keeper, he couldn't stop it. He dived, but did he take a dive? I don't remember, but but that was one of the best free kick I've seen in Monday Night Football, But going to come back over to the show. But yeah, man, Lamar Wonka Nelson, and he broke his foot, and that's how his career went down. Before his foot broke, I think he left Arnett Garden and went to Waterhouse on a big contract, and he broke his leg, and that's it for the baller, man. But yeah, Portmore got the better of their bitter rivals, Dumble Holding. As the Dumble Holding, will play Treasure Beach next at St. Elizabeth, Technical High School down there in Stets, next game, that will be next weekend. And Portmore will play Mullines United, who yet to win a game, who only scored, I think, 2 goals in the Premier League so far. Goals scored by Jeremy Nelson and Jason Wright, who remember Jason Wright, who brought Jamaica to the Under-17 World Cup for the first time in 2000. I think it was in 2010. The qualifiers play when we host that qualification down in Kitchener, but the finals, the World Cup games played in Mexico in 2011. I think we played against Pogba, played against Pogba, Zuma, I think Tolisso, that player used to play for Bayern Munich. But yeah, Jason Wright, the man, I think he spent a couple of seasons, he was playing, I think it was Central, I think it was probably western side of Europe a couple of years ago, but yeah, Mullines United, they almost got the better of the defending champion, man, Mount Pleasant. When I saw that goal scoring, it was a penalty kick, and Jason Wright and Jeremy Nelson, both of them were going at it, who should kick the penalty. Jason Wright is the man for Mullines, he is that guy. He scored 15 goals last season. And, Jeremy Nelson is the brother of, I think, Nicholas Nelson, the man that scored, a lot of goals for Mullines, last season. Jason Rat I think he's at double holding right now. But yeah, Jeremy Nelson put the ball in the back of the net, in I think it's in the 70th minute. And nine, I think after that goal score, Tapa Whitmore just say, hey, look, man. I think he brought on like 2 or 3 substitution right away. He brought on an ex, Arnett Garden player Marlon Martin. He came on and he scored in minutes after coming on the pitch. And it took them 9 minutes before they equalize, and then after that, Mullins United just started to falter. But before I go any further, Mullins United, they were the better team in that first. I said the opening hour of the game, they were the better team. And they got so much chance. Jason Wright, Jason Wright is a player that always have a little bit weight on him, kind of a little bit bulky. But he got away a few times away from the Mount Pleasant backline, and he just couldn't, break away with pace. He's so slow. But I think the first time when he break away from the Mount Pleasant, backline, he initially like hold the play and then pass the ball across, to I don't remember. I think was it Livingston, the right winger? I'm not sure if it was Livingston, but yeah, he wait them there, kick the ball, and the keeper save it, but Shaquan Davis, this goalkeeper, the ex-Idol goalkeeper, man, he made a wonderful. I don't know how Shaquan Davis saved that ball yesterday. That ball, I think it was Dennis, kicked that ball. He went on one-on-one with the Mount Pleasant goalkeeper. And I don't know how that didn't score. If that scored, it would probably be a different game. Who knows? But Mount Pleasant to be blamed, Mullins to be blamed. They got so many opportunities, could have scored, but yet, they didn't score, and I think this is the Mullins we've been getting for the last 2 games now, playing well, creating chances, but they just not finishing, But I think who was the other goal scorer for Mount Pleasant? Yeah, it was Marlon Martin scored in the 79 minutes to go 2-1. And was it Marlon Martin? I think this Rasta guy, his name is Bailey. He scored. He scored in that game, and Chung, scored the 3rd goal, in the 95th minute, a penalty kick, But yeah, Mount Pleasant, really step up the pace after I went down 1-0, to Mullins at the complex, and from there, it was a really good game. But this is what they the lady that always do that interview, and whenever a JPL game is playing, interview around the stadium, some Mount Pleasant fan came on and they're talking about they're gonna bamboozle Mullins United. They are the best team, in the league. They're playing really good football. They want to see their team play flashy football. Listen, man. As much as Mount Pleasant have so much qualities, to start in our game and to whenever to give them a game changer, Mount Pleasant will not play any far. Was it I think it was Arborview But yeah, Mount Pleasant is just not going to play any better than this because Tapa Whitmore is just not that coach. He is just not that coach. He will get the results, but you're not going to see fancy football from Theodore Tapa Whitmore. That's not his game. I've seen Tapa coach, for years now, and it's just not going to get better. It's just not going to get better from there, and Mount Pleasant play without, I think they play without 2 of their players, Jamai Topi and Demar Phillips. Demar Phillips is on international duty. Topi was on international duty, against that game against Guatemala. But they have so much quality to put on the pitch, and it's not a problem to field players. I think they play that Trinidad player name is James. Who remember James? He scored that free kick, I think he scored a free kick on Guatemala in that game winner of the CONCACAF Nation League that brought Trinidad to the quarterfinal. In Trinidad, remember that game. But yeah, Mount Pleasant won that game 3-1. On top of the table, 3 from 3. But going to move on, from Mount Pleasant, talk a little bit about, Mullins coach, Alex, farmer, reggae boy, under 20 captain, he used to play for Arnett Guard in the Premier League. You talk about, building up, and, his team makes a lot of mistakes, especially building up, and, didn't finish their opportunities when they got it. But Damian Ferguson, the Jamaica College coach, he's assistant coach for Mount Pleasant. You talk about, still looking for more fluent playing in the how they build up. I just said it. They're not going to play any far better than how they're playing right now under Whitmore. He said that in his post interview, and he said, players are missing, but I just said it, have too many qualities to put out there. The squad is really deep. You can't take that away from them. I think they are going to be one of the big favorites going into the playoffs next year coming. Next game, going to move on, to Arnett Garden, the West Kingston Derby. But I think Mullins' next game will be Portmore United, so it won't get any better for Mullins. Yeah, and I think Mount Pleasant will play Harborview. But yeah, the West Kingston Derby, man, Jerome went versus Xavier Gilbert, the man that them said Arnett Garden have a gal coach. Who knows Xavier Gilbert? He's a coach of Excelsior women team. He's an interim coach right now for the Reggae Girls. He was the assistant coach, in the World Cup, for Arnett Donaldson. People been touting me, I'm an Arnett Garden supporter. Oh yeah, Arnett Garden have, a woman coach, you guys going to play like a girl and all of that. But you see the football that Arnett Garden been playing, even though we lost the game 3-1, against our bitter rival, Tivoli Garden. Arnett Garden played a better football, but just that mistake, and when he's a coach for Arnett Garden, and you gone what? Arnett Garden played, they drew 2, lose 1, win 1. So yeah, they played 4 games already, and you haven't win a game, at the Tony Spalding Complex again in front of your home crowd. I think Arnett Garden played 2 games already over there. I think, is it that? But I think, yeah, they played 2 games already over there. They played Dumble Olin in the first game, and they played yesterday at Tivoli Garden, yet to win a game. But they only scored 1 goal in front of their home crowd. 1 goal. Arnett Garden is the highest scoring team last season. With 48 goals. Scored. I think they tied with same goals with Mount Pleasant last season. Arnett Garden, but Arnett Garden will get better. But that first goal, that missed up play, I think it was the center half, Joel Cunningham, initially made that mistake, and he let Justin Dunn in, and he put the ball in the back of the net, and from there, Tivoli Garden just started to kill Arnett Garden on the counter, but Arnett Garden just shoot themselves in the foot in that game, and we didn't transition the ball well. The junglist, I say, what's his name? Jamon Shepherd, I think there's another one. Is it Martin Allen? The CDM, I think the number 8. I think sometimes he needs to tone down a little bit on his game. Sometimes he's making rash decision, and tackling players and getting yellow card too early. I know that he's an aggressive player. I know he like to go in challenges and, let players know his presence felt in the middle of the park as a rough force in the middle, but we just didn't transition the ball well. We didn't move the ball quickly around the park. Jaheim Thomas, the man that scored the penalty they call national. It wasn't his best game, to be honest, but this player is really young. Let me tell you, man. After before the season start, losing so many players, Godfrey, Marlon Martin, Ajuma, Fabian Reed, initially is in India. Who else we lost? I was having a little bit doubt that, how we going to replace these players, Arnett Garden, but when they brought in Jamon Shepherd from Harborview, Kelson, he's stepping up after he was like a fringe player in the squad last season. You know, he's one of the main man in the squad now. Jaheim Thomas is the same. One of those players that used to come on the pitch, you know, and change the game. Now he's a regular starter in that number 10. Oh, yeah, and Damari Deacon. You know, we lost 3 players last season to Mount Pleasant. So, you know, but we replaced them good. But Arnett Garden is a football factory. There's no doubt about talent over there in the complex. You know, there's no doubt. You know, we have Charlie Smith. We have the whole concrete jungle, you know, players from everywhere. We have Trenchtown, you know, Annaton, Jonestown, everywhere. You know, over Havana, you know, talent, so many communities, you know, in concrete jungle where players going to come from. But yeah, Kim and the Arbonne missed a penalty, man, to go 3-2 at, I think, in the 93rd minute. I swear, if that ball, you know, if that penalty kick did score, to be honest, probably Arnett Garden that give them a game of them life in the last 3 to 4 minutes. You know, last season Arnett Garden go down, I think, with what, playing against Mount Pleasant last season, I think with 9 men on the pitch, you know, and coming back drawing games. You know, Arnett Garden went down so many times last season. You know, a man down and still managed to get a result. You know, but Kim and Arbonne, you know, he kicked the penalty wide. You know, he's a man that, you know, had scored 3 goals already in the Premier League, missed it to get his 4th goal. You know, but yeah, you know, but when you have, you know, a coach like, you know, a coach like Xavier Gilbert, you know, an ex-player that won the Premier League, you know, for Arnett Garden, Dickie Williams on the bench as an assistant coach. You know, there's no panic, you know, for the junglists. You know, Xavier's an experienced coach, you know. Dickie, you know, I really love how he talk in his interview and how, you know, he's molding the players over there, and he's taking them, you know, from very young. I think he's a coach for the under 10 over there in Arnett Garden, you know, starting from young, you know, and give him that, passing down that experience and those players. So yeah, no doubt about Arnett Garden will come back. But I just feel like, you know, we just need to take our chances, you know, in games, as, you know, this is Arnett Garden biggest problems even last season, you know. For so many years, you know, I've been watching Arnett Garden. This is Arnett Garden problem over the years, you know, getting so many chances, you know, in games and just can't put them away. But Arnett Garden will be there, you know, we will be there. And, you know, this player, I think Warren Brown, player, you know, used to play for Stats in the Manning Cup. He's a good talent, but he needs to get more service in the box. You know, he needs to be getting ball that where he can attack. He's a very tall player. He's quick. You know, he can leap in the air. You know, he have that little strength that, you know, he can overpower defenders in the box. You know, I saw him coming up against that Tivoli captain. I think his name is Barrington. You know, but yeah, you know, but at the end, you know, last year though, you know, Arnett Garden got the better of Tivoli Garden. I think this is Tivoli Garden first win over Arnett Garden since 2019. Is it? I think it was in 2019 the last time. Yeah, 2019, you know. The last time Tivoli Garden beat Arnett Garden, you know, over there in the complex, when, you know, the same captain, you know, Barrington Price, you know, Garrison and Dawkins, remember Dawkins from JC, you know, scored, you know, I think Toll Malcolm scored that lone goal for Arnett Garden. That was the time, I think, what's his name? Admiral Bailey, I think he was a coach at that time. But yeah, Xavier Gilbert, you know, you talk about, you know, disappointed of, you know, giving away 3 points at home, you know, again, you know, playing out from the back. It was poor. Now, Arnett God is a team that likes to play from the back recently. You know, I think that came recently, really came from, you know, Teagat Davis really implement that in the team, him and that Dutch coach, you know, Eric. I think he coached Campion. You know, they implement a really good system. They help to groom the system that Arnett Gardner already have in their locker, and to just enhance it more with their facets of tactics, what they put in these players. You know, as you could see, the team is playing not really any difference from last season. You know, Xavier talk about it that, you know, there's not much about, you know, implementing to Arnett Garden system. You just have to let the players know, you know, how to run and how you want them to organize on the pitch. You know, Arnett Garden have their own philosophy, you know. But Jerome, you know, he spoke about, you know, last weekend, I think Tivoli Garden lose against Fear United. Was it Fear? Tivoli Garden, I think lose. I think, yeah, they lose. I think they lose 2-1. against Veer, Jerome, he spoke about it that, he was in the stand, just scouting out, Arnett Garden and how they played, and, he exploit Arnett Garden on their weakness. One of the defenders that sometimes don't like to be on the ball, he pressed them in moments where, he just kind of clogged up the space and tried to press the player that, weaker with the ball at his feet. And, that's one of the reasons why, they scored 3 goals and, they hit us on the break, as Arnett Garden is a team that like to push up both wing backs, so they attack those spaces between, the left centre half, the right centre half, and the wing backs. And yeah, he have done his homework. Gerald Neal, Kunte's son, started his first game of the season. We didn't play with Eric Garden. Is it Eric? That's his name, Eric Garden? But I know his name is Eric. The goalkeeper, he was ill, he wasn't feeling right, and the young goalkeeper, White, he made some prolific saves in that game, but we're going to move on, from Arnett Garden, the West Kingston Derby. We're going to move on, Humber Lion versus Arborview. I don't know where they got this name from, Humber Lion. There is no lion that's humble. Me and my father talk about this many times. Humber Lion, where they got this name from? Humber Lion, it should be the Roaring Lion. But yeah, big up to Humber Lion, coached by Andrew Price and ex-Arnett Garden player again. O'Neill, Bigger Thompson, one of the best to ever do it in the Jamaican Premier League, man. Captain Arnett Garden to win that the last time Arnett Garden win a Premier League, it was only the Bigger Thompson was a coach. Yeah, people, that's my dad. Big up to man like 12, man that mold me to bring Arnett Garden, man. Yeah, biggest club in Jamaica. I think Arnett Garden is the only club that never get relegated from the Premier League in Jamaica. Arborview got relegated, Portmore got relegated, Watos got relegated. Arnett Garden is one of the only clubs that in the big top clubs in Jamaica that never, ever, from 1977 until now, still standing strong. But yeah, Arborview, going to talk about Arborview and Humber Lion. Now a minute, I think my screen kind of went to blank. Just give me a minute. Father said Arnett Garden, the biggest team, Arnett Garden, the biggest club. Of course, Arnett Garden is the biggest club in Jamaica. Hey, I'm gonna give you that before, let me get the screen come up back, but give you a little joke, I think during the time when Arnett Garden was struggling back then, I don't know how many of you guys, watching this this right now live in the chat, you can comment and tell me if you remember, if you know, if you knew it. One of the reasons why they brought in top 6 and bottom 6, it was because Arnett Garden was going to get relegated from the Premier League. And Arnett Garden is one of the marquee teams in Jamaica. Arnett Garden is the biggest supporter, have the biggest fan base. Remember when we won that Premier League title, I think the last one in 2017, we played Portmore. I think we came back from 1-0 down and won that game 2-1. Marvin Morgan scored the goal of his life. Arnett Garden fill up the National Stadium. Everyone know that Portmore United don't really have much supporters. Located over there in Greater Portmore. Many people over there support Waterhouse, Arnett, and other teams. Portmore is a diverse community where people always live from over there, come into town and work and all that. But yeah, Arnett Garden, that last final we went to with Portmore, Arnett Garden is the only team can go to a Premier League final with nobody and fill the National Stadium. That's how powerful Arnett Garden is. Whenever Arnett Garden and Charlie Smith is playing really good, whether it's schoolboy football and Premier League, football nice again. I'm telling you, football nice again. Wherever the junglers go, man, football will ever have that vibes. But I'm going to move on to Arborview, versus Humber Lion. This game drew 2-2. Let's get this. I don't know what's going on with this computer, but Yeah, but Shaquille Bradford, got that first goal, for Harborview in the 22 minute, and Williams, got that equalizing goal, and Andrew Vanzi, the leader, for Umberland, one of the best free kick taker in the league, one of the dead ball specialists, ever played in the league with Jeremy and Fabian Davis, Ricardo Cousin, you name it, Christopher Iggy Jackson from Tivoli. Oh, remember that player, you know. Andrew Vance is one of those players that he's a legend in the league. Think he used to play for I think he used to play for Portmore. But yeah, he's a legend. In the Jamaican Premier League. I think he's one of the players in the Jamaican Premier League over the years. Didn't get that support from the selection board for the JFF. To get selected in the national team. Andrew Vanzi, he's been playing in this league for over 10 years now, and he scored 34 goals in the Premier League so far. He scored four or six goals last season. For Umberland, I think he scored a free kick on Arnett Garden last season. So Andrew Vanzi is a really good player, and guess who is back? For Harborview, the boys from the east. Big up to Andre Fagan, man. Andre Fagan is a player that during when Arnett Garden was on their face, he was the one that used to run up and down, over there in Arnett, whenever they come to the complex, and he just couldn't stop scoring. Him and Kevin Bryan, but this guy, Andre Fagan, he got the equalizer goal, first goal of the season. He's coming from over there in the Vietnamese league. Andre Fagan, man, big player. He's a good player. He's a good addition to the Harborview team. Him and the other goal scorer Shaquille, Bradford. I think when you have a young Bradford in the team playing against a really experienced player, Andre Fagan, who's 36 years old or something like that, all the way up there in his mid-30s, he's going to learn from him. And I think that's where Harborview is going to get better. Harborview, they didn't finish in the playoff last season as they struggled to get goals, they struggled to create. So, with addition with those two strikers and Ajuma Johnson, with what they have with what's his name? Kaim Priestley, that plays to play for KC. They have Breaking Bridge in the back line. They have the captain Harden. It's a really good team, but they just lacked that cutting edge last season. And with this addition, it's going to get better for Harborview. And Shaquille Young Bradford, he scored his second goal, 2 from 2. He was in the Reggae Boy squad. Play. I think he got 45 seconds. In that game, he made his debut. For the Reggae Boys. So yeah, that game, it was kind of, at some part of the game, it was kind of dead, to be honest. This is one of the deadest Monday Night Football I've seen played since the season start. The game that Eva played with Cavalier and Waterhouse, it wasn't that a kick of energy. Like the game yesterday with Mount Pleasant and Mullines, the last 30 minutes of that game is like an extra vibe just kicking, and then they just boost the crowd for that West Kingston derby with Arnett, give that vibes. But yeah, but I think Umberland got so many opportunities. I think both teams even cancel out each other, but Umberland got the better opportunities. Could have snatched this game, but they didn't took their chance. I think even Vanzi, he got another one in the box. He didn't score. They have a striker, Andre Clennan. Andre Clennan is a player. I think I first saw Andre Clennan when I was a youngster playing that famous Waterhouse team. When that Waterhouse team, the players were kind of getting a little bit old. He was a youngster that came in, and he was doing his thing at that time. That's how he got his name in the JPL. But Andre Clennan, man, he's been poor. He's been really poor. I'll give you a stats on Andre Clennan. Andre Clennan, 2 goals in his last season. He scored 2 goals last season, and he scored 4 goals in 2 seasons. That's really poor, from a striker. Can't score. You just can't score, 4 goals in 2 years. But he scored over 30 Premier League goals in his career. As I said, he was prolific, but over the years he got a few injuries. He was playing. I think at one time he was playing one of those war country. Was it Macedonia? I think it was Azerbaijan. I think he played in one of those Central American, team. I think Guatemala, one of El Salvador, one of those teams. But yeah, Anthony Clan is a really good player. But he passed his best. But if Umberland is going to do well this season, it's going to down to Vanzi and Clenant to get some goal, on the score sheet for them. Umberland last season, Umberland, Umberland went to the playoffs last season. They were the only team in out of the 6 teams that went to the playoffs. They scored the least scores. They scored 27 goals from 26 games. So yeah, they have team that struggle to score goals. But last season they were the best team defensively alongside Portmore. They only conceded 15 goals. Portmore conceded 17 goals last season. So it's not usually Umberland team got scored on twice in a game, and Umberland is not a team that normally scored 2 and 3 goals in a game, as they're like a really tight team. Score that one and defend. But want to move on. Talk about Harborview. I think Harborview, they were really poor in the midfield, especially Ajuma Johnson and I just call his name Priestley. Don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. But this is Harborview's central midfield. I think he's wearing number 8. He actually came off, in the second half. He used to went to KC United, KC, high school, but they just didn't have their proper game. Both fullbacks kind of didn't get high up the field, as Harborview sometimes like to push their wing backs up, and sometimes when one up, the other one can tuck in as an inverted, but the midfield just didn't connect. And Ajuma Johnson have, his poorest game of the campaign so far. He made some stride, but you just could see that, this Harborview team was off. I'm just wondering if Harborview and Cavalier, played too many games, in that CFU competition. Cavalier is going to play a couple of years from now, that team in Suriname, Robin, I think Robin Hood, that's their name, the CFU final in I think a week and a half, 2 weeks from now. So I'm just wondering if, Cavalier and Harborview, played so many games before the season started. So I'm just going to keep a close eye on Harborview and Cavalier, but I have those 2 teams to qualify, for the playoffs. But Andrew Vanzi, he did his post-game interview, and he got the man of the match. He spoke about leading from the front as an experienced player. He knew that he's a player that Umberland is going to look for to bring them, to push them up the field. As Andrew Vanzi kind of sit a little bit deep last season, but watching this game, with Andrew Vanzi, he's kind of a little bit getting a little free license around the pitch from Coach Andrew Price, and you can hear O'Neal Bigger Thompson was barking out his throat constantly from minute 1 to minute 90. Who know O'Neal Bigger Thompson, man? He is a very intimidated individual, but if you get to know him, he's a really cool guy. He's a really friendly guy to talk to. Who the hell is weed allowed in the break? What the hell is that? I don't really understand what Mikey's saying. Mikey T, is weed allowed in the break, man? What he talking about, man? But yeah, as I was, talking about O'Neal Bigger Thompson, man. He's on the outside, he looks as if he's a really intimidated player. He had that presence that, that's why I think he's one of those captain where you just have to look at and you just have to admire him. Whenever he talk, you have to listen, because he have that intimidated figure. He's 6'3", 6'4", big and muscular. I have a story to give you guys on O'Neal Bigger Thompson. I think at the time, he was playing. Let me tell you, he was playing, I think, in Sweden, in Norway. He was playing in Norway. Let me tell you exactly what team he was playing for in Norway. And I think he came back, when Boystown was in the Premier League. He was playing for, let me tell you. You know, he just came back from Norway a couple of years. You know, he was playing for Natodon FK in the Norwegian Premier League, and bigger times he was playing for boys at no. He wasn't. Sorry, he wasn't playing for Boyston. He wasn't. Oh no, this was in 2009. 2009. Yeah. He was. Yeah, he was on break. You know, only bigger times was on break. It was like in the summer because I remember, you know, I was playing for Boyston at the time, and I was playing at the time. I was training with under 15 team. You know, but that team was so superb. I was a youngster, like 12, 13, you know, year old, you know, and I was training with the under 15 team, but the coach, you know, big up to coach Hardware, you know, he's a really good coach down there at Boyston, you know, he helped develop my game. But yeah, O'Neal Bigger Thompson, you know, the story, you know, Kevin Blackwood, you know, used to play for, you know, JC, you know, one of the biggest talent ever walked through Boyston football academy, you know, from Kevin Blackwood is one of the biggest talent ever walk through Boyston team, you know, from under 13 come straight up to the Premier League, and he is a relative to O'Neal Bigger Thompson. Yeah, this is a little story I'm giving about O'Neal Bigger Thompson. You know, I always seen this player, you know, watching him, you know, on TV for the Reggae Boys. I never met him in person before, and you know, he used to live across from Kevin Blackwood room right in front of his door, and we were coming from training at the time, and we were walking, you know, upwards step to go to Kevin house, and you know, after training, you know, going to eat some food, and O'Neal Bigger Thompson walk out of his door, and the moment I walked up the steps and I saw O'Neal Bigger Thompson, it's like if my heart could jump out of my chest. You know, I was so frightened to see this big presence, you know, walk out. And Uno Bigger Thompson, he had this really rough voice, this coarse voice, you know, and he was like, yo, Blackwood, I was looking you the soccer. And people, me run, go back downstairs. I'm like, ooh, like, yo, I was so shocked, you know, and at the time I was a little bit starstruck to see that, you know, meeting a really midfield general who have done it, you know, for the Reggae Boy, you know, and for Boystone, you know, in the past, you know, help them get promoted back to the Premier League, you know, after Boystone got relegated in 1995, and it took them 10 years, you know, for the red, what they call them, the red brigade, OJ 80s O'Neal, you know, it took your team 10 years from the day I born, 95 to 2005, to the Red Brigade to come back with old man Andre Wheeler and all. Is it Andre Pilot, you know, and but that team was really superb. But yeah, O'Neal Bigger Thompson, man, really good person to know, you know, and from there, you know, I don't think, you know, if he see me right now, he'd probably remember the face, but don't remember me quite well as how he would know Kevin Blackwood, you know. But yeah, really good guy, you know. But he was on the touchline today for Umberland, shouting instruction, you know, constantly. You could hear his voice in the background as Andrew Price was just sitting here as a midfield, as a coach was just looking at him, you know, giving out instructions. But you know, anything Umberland have to do this season, it have to lead up to Andre Klein and Andrew Vanzi, and you know, down to them to keep that defensive shape, and you know, try to have that best defensive record in the league again. You know, but we want to move on. You know, Andrew Price did an interview. You know, he said his intensity dropped in the second half. Yes, Andrew Price, the intensity dropped for Umberland in the second half. They played a better first half. You know, they played a really good first half. You know, and he said that, you know, by dropping the intensity in the second half, it led back, you know, Aberview just to get back a little motion in the game, and you know, try to get something. They created a few chances in the back part of the game, the last 15 minutes, but you know, none of the team didn't want to win the game, you know, and yeah, he said that, you know, nevertheless, you know, he got a pint, and, you know, he could have lost the game too, but, you know, he's grateful for the pints. You know, move on. Umberland is still unbeaten, you know, in the league. Umberland is still unbeaten in the Jamaican Premier League. I think they beat, see if, tell you, Umberland, you know, humble, and I think they won their first game against Treasure Beach at Effortville Community Center. But that other game, see, yeah, they drew with Mullines United, 1-1. They beat Treasure Beach, I think, yeah, 1-0 at Effortville, But going to move on, talk about, the Harborview coach, Ludlow Bernard, the man that can't play football, but he's one of the best tacticians in the league. You talk about, look, I love Lodi, wipe on that. No, not the nickname. Mr. Bernard. Wipe on that. Mr. Bernard, he spoke about, his team giving up 3 goals, time and time again, Harborview is a team that, kind of lead goals, to be honest, in the Jamaican Premier League. Even last season, Harborview leaked some goals. They didn't finish. In that last 4. I think they are the one that think beat Arnett Garden last season, or I think it was Mount Pleasant. But yeah, Harborview conceded 21 goals last season and scored 34. He talk about his team giving up cheap goals, and Harborview. Yeah, I can agree with Mr. Bernard that he is giving up. The team is giving up cheap goals, and he pleased with the veteran player. Andre Fagan got his first goal of the season. And he's that it's only going to help him to get better in the league and to be settled. He talk about he's not 100% fit. He said that during the game, he signaled him to I'm tired, just take me off. And that's when you have a player that really disciplined, really honest about just change, get a substitution, get someone else on the pitch, who can do the work. And that's what he did. I think he brought on another youngster, but the last game of the day of the podcast, Cavalier versus Waterhouse, man. Not a frustrated game, man. I just don't know where to start with this game. I just don't know where to start from this game. Both teams just didn't want to score. Both teams just didn't want to score. As Ainsworth, the youngster, 18 years old, Ainsworth, 18, 19, scored opening goal in the 33 minute. And Thomas, I think it's his first name, Dinardo Thomas, scored and equalized the game, scored his second goal of the season, for Waterhouse, as Ainsworth scored his second goal of the season also. But both of these teams, I said it, Cavalier, they're not really playing well, to be honest, not yet. But the game, was just going back and forth, between two teams, but it was a scrappy game, to be honest. Waterhouse scored a goal, I think just before when the lad Thomas equalized, they scored a goal, but it waved off offside. And Javian Bryan, the man from in Rima community, man has scored 3 goals already from the season start. Assist, first assist of the season. At least if you're not scoring, you're assisting. So you help your team to progress and get a point out of the game. But Damian Garden, assistant coach, for Waterhouse, he spoke about moments in the game where they just didn't took their opportunity. As I think Waterhouse was the better team. To be honest, they created the better opportunities in this game. I think Cavaliers only have one focus and it's that CFU final against the Surinamese team. I think Robin Hood. So but Cavaliers will be right up there, though. They will be right up there. Cavaliers qualify for the CONCACAF Champions League. Don't forget that. Mr. Speed is not doing a good job with the Jamaican Federation, but he's doing a wonderful job, with the Cavalier team, But Cavalier lost their big center half and one of their most skillful winger, I think his name is Atkinson, and he's the winger. They lost, I think, this season. He went to Iceland. And Richard King, former, he's a current Reggae Boy international. He went to Iceland. Both of them is a key part of our Cavalier played on both, and Richard King is that defender who likes to play the ball out. At Kingston is that player like to take on defenders 1v1, very tricky player. I love watching him in the JPL. But I have reached, the predictions, since I have seen so many teams, over 12 teams already in the Jamaican Premier League. I've seen them live on TV. And, I'm going to start off, my predictions on the top six. This is where it kind of gets sticky. Who I predict that will finish in the top six and who will finish in the top two position. The top two position, you qualify automatically for the semi-final. And 3, 4, 5, and 6 will play that quarterfinal. I think two-legged game, to play those top two teams, and then they will play from there and try to finish and go to the final of the Jamaican Premier League. But yeah, number six, from Greater Portmore, formerly known as Hazard United. Who remember Hazard, man, who formerly named Portmore United now? So many teams, change their name over the years in the Premier League. I think Portmore will finish 6th. Last season Portmore finished 7th, 1 point behind their bitter rivals Dumbarton. So I think with the addition of Martin Davis, replacing Walker, Martin Davis is a good addition to Portmore United team. Especially when they lose Lamar Walker. Lamar Walker is a creative player. Yes, Davis is a creative player, but Davis will give you more creating and goal scoring. He's that player, will give you both assists and goals. Lamar Walker is more of an assist player. Will chip in with goals now and then, but yeah, that alone, with Alex Marshall is doing really good. He got man of the match. I think he get player of the week last match day. I think match day 3. He got match day 4, is it? Match day 3, you got man of the match, last week. But yeah, Portmore, I have Portmore to finish in 6th position. The team from Joesland, that's finished 8th last season, only scored 26 goals in the Premier League. Waterhouse, the team that they call Firehouse, man. I can't wait to see a Firehouse. I love to see Waterhouse, back in the days play when I'm have, man like Richard McCallum, the man they call Spoon, Breaking Bridge, Zappa, Capo. I think his name is Damian Williams is Dirty, man. Kevin Lamy, one of the best striker ever playing in the Premier League. I think he's the second all-time scorer in the Premier League behind Devon Adges. I think Kevin Lamy is on 105 goals, in the Premier League. People who don't know Kevin, Lamy, one of the skillest player ever play in the Jamaican Premier League, in my eyes. But yeah, I have Waterhouse, to finish in 5th position. Why? I have Waterhouse. Waterhouse finished 8th last season, but with the addition, of Nikai Christian from Dumbarton, as Waterhouse on the score, I said 26 goals, and they struggle to score goals, they struggle to create, and they add, Javian Bryan, the youngster, I think he's coming from Med Forest, so add those players in, and I think they got another player. I think they got a player from, I think I don't remember, I think his name is Andre, but yeah, they got him from Mount Pleasant, so having those players in it, I think what they already have, Ishmael King, big up yourself there. Yeah, but with what they have, Waterhouse, they will finish. I see this team finish 5th. They started the season well already in the Jamaican Premier League. Let's go back, on the table. I think, Waterhouse is right. Waterhouse is right up there, in 2nd position. Waterhouse lose their first game of the season. They lose their first game of the season in the National Stadium, when Tivoli Garden beat them 3-0, But next up, in line, I have, Cavalier United, man. Is it Cavalier United? Where I get United, but Cavalier, man, to finish 4th. I just feel like, Cavalier, playing without Atkins and Richard King, even though a lateral of the season, last campaign, I think they played with Richard King. I think he went out on loan to a Finnish club, they got relegated, and I think he moved over to the neighboring country, Iceland. So yeah, I just feel like there's too much is going on for Cavalier, but you cannot write off Cavalier. Cavalier is a big team, and they are the finalists. They went to the final last season. But when you lost a striker like Colin Anderson that scored 16 goals, 15 goals last season, think he's somewhere, I think Colin Anderson is in, I think is Bosnia Herzegovina, playing his club football. But when you lost a player like that scored so many goals, it's hard to replace. So yeah, I have Cavaliers to finish at fourth. They finished second last season behind Arnett Garden. They at the time they were the third highest scoring team in the Premier League. Yeah, they scored 47 goal last season. So yeah, Cavaliers are a really good team, have a really good manager, only for Cavaliers. He's only a good man for Cavaliers, Mr. Rudolph Speed. And in the third spot, before that second spot, that automatically qualifying spot for the semifinal, it's kind of surprise, but I just feel like, this league, it's not going to be a league that a team just going to be run away. Mount Pleasant will have their day when they're going to come, and they're just not going to get the results. They're on the path of their peak now. But Arnett Garden surprisingly finishing third position. I have them to finish third. Coming at the end of end of the regular season. Arnett Garden finishing first, won the regular season, last campaign. But last campaign we had player like Ajoma Johnson scored 7 goals, 5 assists. Fabian Reed, my namesake, he left the club. He's a legend. He gone to India, the second division in India. When you have a man like that, scored around almost just said it round after 80 Premier League goals, in his career, and he scored at 15 goals last season. It's hard to replace. He's just like Colin Anderson for Cavalier. But yeah, Fabian Reed left the club, and so many players, and Arnett Garden team is really young. Arnett Garden team don't have a standout goal scorer, to be honest. Warren Brown, youngster, I think he's 20 years old, 21, but he's learning. It's not his first season in the Premier League. He played that one season after schoolboy football for Tivoli, and I think he did some spell overseas, and he came back, in the fall. So yeah, I have Arnett Garden, the Junglers to finish, in third position, and second position, I have Arborview, the team that finished fourth last season, the team that scored 34 goals last season, the team that conceded 21 goals, one of I think it was the fourth or the fifth best defensive record of the campaign last season, with the addition Ajuma Johnson to what they have, Andre Fagan and young Shaquille Bradford that scored 9 goals last season, for Waterhouse. He scored 2 from 2 already for Arborview in the league, and he been rewarded, called up to the national team for that unofficial game against Guatemala that played on Saturday. So, this is a player that's on the up. He's a quality player. But those players that I just called were the main reason for me to put Arborview in second position. Why? When I look in this league, we don't have any one of these 14 teams. The 14 teams don't really have that prolific goal scoring machine in their team. Look at Arborview team. Shaquille Bradford is an out and out number 9. Andre Fagan, he's done it in the past for Arborview before. He left the club, I think, around 2011, 2012, somewhere around there. Went off to Vietnam. This player spent like 8 years in Vietnam, in the Vietnamese Premier League. Playing for I think he played for 3 clubs over there. So yeah, you have 2 lethal goal scorer, 2 real genuine number 9. I think Arborview have, I would say, the most lethal forward line in the Royal Navy Jamaican Premier League this season. And I just feel like if they can get Ajuma Johnson and Priestley played more and more consistently, injury free. I think, they will score a lot of goals. They will score more than, those 34 goals that they scored last campaign. And number one, Mount Pleasant, because of their recruitment, signing two Trinidad players. I think two. Yeah, I think they signed two Trinidad players. I think one named Ulrich and another one named James. They signed so many players, but I can't keep track of who Mount Pleasant signed, and the backing of their owners, Peter Gould doing a wonderful job, down there, in St. Anne's, down there at Jacksal, building a nice foundation down there. They have their own academy, they have their own school, and I have to big up Mount Pleasant for this. They are the one of the only clubs doing this, hiring former players that used to play the game in their youth setup. They have Errol Stevenson, formerly of Arnett Garden, Waterhouse. Jabba played for so much teams in the Premier League. Jabba played I think in Malaysia. He played in Thailand. I think is it Malaysia? I think he played in Thailand and Vietnam. Errol Stevenson is a real good player. He's one of those players that got a real hard fight, from the selection board, from the JFF, man. He's one of the giftiest players ever seen in the Jamaican. He just picked up the ball and just run past people, and they also have, Kirk Ramsey. You remember Kirk Ramsey? Again, Arnett Garden have so much players. I think he used to play for Waterhouse too. Kirk Ramsey is one of those players that, scored so many goals for Arnett over the years, and their downfall in those seasons when Arnett Garden is struggling. He's the one that kept Arnett Garden up in, I think, 2 seasons, scoring goals like left, right, and center with his pace. One time when, Kirk Ramsey is playing for Arnett Garden, as soon as he pick up the ball, you hear the whole crowd, beep, 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 because he's so blessed with pace. Kirk Ramsey is so quick. I think two of the most quickest player I ever seen play for Arnett Garden, I can remember, is, Kwame Richards and Kirk Ramsey. My father told me about, Baron Earl, about his pace back in the day, but, and, I might forget, the late one, Tul Malcolm, former St. George's, standout, schoolboy football. He won, I think, a Manning Cup for St. George's during those time. I think it was 2009, 2010, during that time. But yeah, Kirk Ramsey and, Kwame Richardson, two of the most quickest players I've ever seen, play for the Junglists. But yeah, I have Mount Pleasant to finish, in first position, but I just feel like, if Mount Pleasant going to win the regular season, it's not going to be by a tall margin, because most of the teams are very even, to be honest, like they're really close. But I just feel like from 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, it's going to be a neck of a tie down to the last game of the season. I'm telling you, even though I have Portmore to finish 6th, Waterhouse at 5th, it's going to be neck and neck between those teams, especially teams. I tell you, especially teams like if Mullins can get their act together, getting Jason Wright to score some goals, Humble Lion. So I have Humble Lion dropped out of that top 2 who finished in the playoff last campaign. And I had Tivoli Garden who dropped out. So I have Tivoli and Humble Lion who initially dropped out, but you just cannot write off Tivoli. Tivoli, finished third last. Tivoli is the team, I think. Tivoli, what am I saying? Tivoli finished outside, of that playoff spot. Tivoli haven't finished in the playoff spot for some time. It's Dumble Holding and Umberland who finished in the playoff spot last season. I took out and I replaced them with Portmore and Water also. But it's going to be a neck and neck. Yeah, but we're going to move on to the next two. Relegation, I feel like the two new teams going to go right back down. We saw it last season with Chapelton Maroons and Falkland. They went right back down. And, I feel like if it's going to be Treasure Beach and Lima, but if I could choose which one of the teams will survive which one of them will survive out of the two, I picked the relegate. I'd probably say, Treasure Beach, to be honest, Treasure Beach, will have that fan base down there in St. Elizabeth. It's the only team, in that region from in the St. Elizabeth region is playing in the Premier League. So they will have that fan base. They will have that extra kick. They will have that, they will have that little energy to whenever, team come down there at St. Elizabeth at States Field, they will use that field as advantage, you know. So, but it's going to be neck and neck, to be honest, especially Mobile can be on both end. Mobile can be in the top six race, or they can be sniffing around, that relegation spot, that 12, 11 spot down there, but let's see. But the next one I have, top goal scorers, in the league. I think Justin Dunn, the man from Tivoli Garden, scored a hat-trick. I think that his fourth goal of the season. He's the leading goal scorer right now of the Jamaican Premier League. So this is one of the hardest thing. This is one of the hardest thing to talk about the top leading goal scorer. Players that who is going to be up there. As I said, not many lethal players in the league right now. We don't really have that out and out number 9. Is that's the thing, because when you look around Europe, in European football, you don't really have, outside of like Lewandowski did his thing, at Bayern Munich. He's kind of on the decline a little bit at Barcelona. Harry Kane is arguably, and Haaland is the top marksman right now. You could say Osimhen, Osimhen, Giroud is passing his best. Julian Alvarez for City, but you don't really have much number 9s around. Salah is a winger that scored loads of goals, over the years. Karim Benzema left Europe. I think he's the one that won the last Ballon d'Or before Lionel Messi. So it's probably just a thing around, the cycle of number 9s. Football kind of changed and all teams want to play right now. Most teams really want to play like strikers, like Julian Alvarez for City, that player that can play number 9, number 10, drop around on the wing position. That's how modern coach want their number 9 to play. So yeah, I think developing youngsters around the world, I think that's kind of affecting youngsters, to be honest. But get back to the show. Javi and Brian, from Watos, I've seen him score loads of goals. Why you have Nikai Christian, one of the best assistants in the league. Young Bradford, from Harbourview, I don't see Fagan score much goal. He's kind of on his retirement side of his career. He's just here to help Harbourview, help the youngsters, into their game and all of that. But, I have Bradford, Javi and Brian. Should I have Kimani Arbon from Arnett Garden? He's the one that, going to get most of the goal, but he is not out and out. He can play, he can do a shift, in that number 9, but he's not a number 9, he's a winger. I see Oko Kwesi, that's his name, Kwesi Chong, from Mount Pleasant. I see him scored some goal in a very good Mount Pleasant team. Probably, the youngster that scored Africa and Tifa and Arnett Garden done. Who else? Don't see many players, in the league. Probably Alex Marshall can score some goals this season for Portmore. I think that's it, to be honest. I don't think Jason Wright will score that much goal for Monarchs this season. I doubt it, So I think that's it, But yeah, people, this is a long show. One of the longest show, of the Jamaican Premier League. It's live. It's the first live of the Jamaican Premier League show. I have some time, get off work a little bit early. So yeah, I'm going to try to do this every. I might change the schedule from noon on Tuesdays to probably, I would say, 10 o'clock, 10:30. The Jamaican Premier League review show on Mondays. I can probably do it at that time. I don't really want to go a little bit too late. But yeah, people, don't forget to, like up the channel, like up the video. If you haven't subscribed, you know what to do, man. Subscribe, man. You see, I tell you, this going to, I think, think you have other shows out there that talk about the Jamaican Premier League, but you don't have that show where, just, I think, strictly just the Premier League. I seen a fellow other YouTuber, did a couple show, the Jamaican Premier League solely about it, but not, I don't know, but I think, his name is, big up to Unseen TV. I seen a subscriber of mine, recommend me to about, I knew his channel, but I didn't know that he was doing, Premier League show. But I think this channel, Nicola Medios, is the only channel I've seen, doing, solely on the Premier League about, details and everything, but not many people know the depths of the Real Never Jamaican Premier League. Why? The Real Never Jamaican Premier League, you have to be a skill. You have to be a man at your work. You have to be that craft, to talk about the Jamaican Premier League. Why? I'm not saying I'm the best. I'm still a student. You have people out there that know more than me, but watching this league for over 20 years, over the years, over 2 decades now, I've been watching this Jamaican Premier League. I knew players, I knew history, I knew records and stuff. And I do a lot of researches before I come on here. And I have my team laid out so I don't come and give, things that are not factual, and, my knowledge on Jamaican football, I just know about that so I can come and talk about it. But you can't get details in depth about the Jamaican Premier League and, like, I would say, get like any local scouting reports and Google. I found a website, that goes in depth, a little bit in depth, but I have to add my qualities in it. They gave me a lot and it helped me. And that's why, I could talk about the Jamaican Premier League. But people, we have come to the end of the Real Neville Jamaican Premier League, man. Match day, I'd say, match day 4. Next week will be match day. Next week will be match day 5. I'm going to go ahead and tell you some fixtures that are going to come up next in the Jamaican Premier League. Match day 5. Lime Hall will play Cavalier. Montego Bay will host the Junglists. Arnett Garden down there, I think, at Westport Park. I think that game is at 3 p.m. Cavalier games. I don't know the venue for Cavalier and Lime Hall game. That will kick off at 1:15, 1:30. On Sunday. Portmore versus Mullines, on Sunday at 3 p.m. Game more likely will play at 30-meter park. Cheddar Beach will host the team at Rock Bottom, Dumble Holding yet to get off the mark with a 3-point 14 position and 1 point. And the 2 teams that I predict, to come first and second will play next weekend. More likely at Draxal at 3:15 p.m. Mount Pleasant versus Harborview. That will be a really good game. And the two Monday fixtures will be Tivoli Garden and Umberland. I more likely those games will play, probably at Arnett Garden. I don't know yet, but next game, the late game after they call it Monday Night Football. Veer, will take on Firehouse, a team from Joseland, man. I wonder if that mascot, for Waterhouse, the man that dressed up in the as the fireman suit, that the color white, blue, and yellow. You got this fire helmet, and that man that always knock the pot cover, with his magnum buckle. I think he's from Capture, the man from Capture. I remember him. Always have his 2-pot cover in his hand. That man always, and how you say, that man is always in planet at Pluto. He's always flying high as he's always drinking that Magnum. But yeah, those are the 2 games. On Monday, Tivoli will play the first game at 5 o'clock against Umberland. Will Umberland, get back on track and win the next game? Our Tivoli will continue their unbeaten streak in the last 2 games. No, the unbeaten streak in the last game. Moving on, they will play Veer. Veer is struggling, but yeah, people, thanks for watching. Thanks to everyone who come through, man. Nicola Media was there again as what next? What next for the channel? What next is a preview for the Canada game. I will do a preview on probably, I don't know, probably do a preview on Wednesday night, on the Reggae Boy game against Canada just before my flight on Thursday to come down in Kingston to see that game. I will do a preview, and I trying my best to do a preview at the National Stadium. I'm trying to go there as early as possible, try to get things set up where I can do a live preview at the National Stadium. But yeah, next for Nicola Media is the preview right here in my studio. The Reggae Boys will play Canada on Friday, November the 17th. And people, look, man, I don't know if many of you guys know, but today is my Earth Strong. I'm 27 plus 1, man. But yeah, look out for that video. Is either Wednesday night or early Thursday before my flight. But yeah, people, Nicola Media was there again. Peace out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you're new, click the bell, people. Don't leave without you click that like button on the channel, so the video can recommend to other people out there, man. Bless up. Peace out. Much love. One love, people.